And as leaders, we don't like to hear when we do not so good or make mistakes, but we're all imperfect. And I've learned through leadership that you've got to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly, because that's how you fix it. If you don't know, you never get there. And so we have to be open to constructive feedback because it just makes you better. Leadership's tough. It's not an easy role. And especially as you gain more across the organization and serve many across many teams. I can still have my heart. I can still be passionate. I've learned to be strong, but I've also learned that I'm imperfect and it's okay to make mistakes and let me know so that I can continue to learn and grow and be the best I can to serve others.
Welcome to the True Leadership Podcast, where we sit down with executive leaders to explore what leadership really means through the lens of their stories, their wins, their struggles, their vision, and their lessons along the way. I'm Ty Hammond, founder of One Mountain Leadership and creator of the True Leadership Approach, an awareness-based path that helps leaders shift their focus from what to do about their problems to how to grow from them. Whether you're just stepping into leadership or are well-seasoned and at the top of your game, your potential won't be realized following someone else's script, but you can draw insights from their stories and turn it into wisdom by putting it into practice in your own life.
Welcome to the True Leadership Podcast, where we explore the essence of leadership beyond tactics and performance by sitting down with executives to hear what matters most to them. I'm your host, Jessy James, and today's guest is Heather Mansour. Heather is a Chief Human Resources Officer at United States Senate Federal Credit Union, where she leads with a people-first philosophy and a sharp strategic lens. A certified chief executive, also certified in employee relations and DEI, Heather brings deep expertise in aligning talent strategy with business growth. Her leadership has strengthened organizational culture, advanced training and development initiatives, and enhanced employee engagement across the financial sector. Known for fostering excellence, inclusion, and performance, Heather believes empowered employees create exceptional member experiences, and she continues to build workplaces where people and performance thrive together. Heather, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you so much, Jessy, and I'm excited to be with you today.
Fantastic. Heather, I'm curious, who is someone from your early life or even an early experience that shaped the kind of leader that you are today?
I think it's a variety of leaders. I always look up to those that are inspiring, that really do what's best for the organization and especially people. So, I've always looked up to Mother Teresa. I've always looked up to many men and women leaders who really lead with their heart and are passionate about making a difference. So I think that's it. And family.
Yeah. And how have these experiences and people shaped the leader that you are today?
I think when you lead by example and you really care about people, they always take care of you in the organization. They always serve the best to their ability because they're happy with what they do and they feel that they're a valued, trusted partner. And so my goal has been, I've learned from my experiences through my experiences. And if I can share that with others and make a difference, that's really my passion. And so I love to make a difference and bring value when I can.
Heather, what does true leadership mean to you from your perspective, your experiences, from the situations you've been in? What does that mean to you?
I would say true leadership is really leading by example. You lead by the heart, right? And it's not just words, it's the behavior that matters most. I think many organizations, many leaders, they can say what they want to, but do they really follow through and do what they say? And I think that makes a difference. When you lead with people through strategy to help the organization and you are people centric, right? That they are a value to the organization. It makes a difference. And I think, people can see on your sleeve whether you really believe that or you don't from the heart. And so I think great leaders really lead from the heart. People want to follow them because they serve others, and I think that's important. I think when you lead with empathy, you are transparent. You own you own your mistakes, because let's face it, we're all imperfect. I think that matters. And I think that matters to people, and they see that. So that's what I would say.
Can you share about a time when you realized that your way of leading or living no longer met the demands of work and life and growth was needed?
Yeah, sure. I think that happens a lot, especially in the HR world. HR has come a long way from looking at a perspective of administrative to now it's very people strategic operations and working across the organization as a whole to support not only executives, but all the way through the organization, different teams, and even staff members. And so we come together more, I think, culturally, as we're seen as a strategic partner, right? And I think that, in the past, that has been challenges. Let's face it, sadly, employees for some organizations, and still are looked at as an expense, and they're not. They're your best value. So I would highly recommend, being strategic and taking the challenges. I mean, it's not easy to be the one to stand up for what's right and what's important, not just to the employees, not just to the organization, but to the people you serve to make a difference. So it's collaboration, not teamwork, and it's coming together as a unity to best serve our members with products and services. And I think that starts with people.
Yeah, and I'm curious, as you made these different transitions as HR, the role of HR evolved, what did it mean for you? What did you have to let go? What did you have to outgrow?
Yeah, I think, when you are a heart person and you wear your heart on the sleeve, you also learn that you have to be strong. It's kind of funny because I'm a Leo. So you have to wear your sleeve with the heart, but you also have to be strong and serve as a strong leader. You have to back, what you bring to the table, because it's critical to show the data, especially as we culturally move from an administrative role into a strategic partner. And so what I have learned is I will bring value not just by what, I come up with creative and innovative for the best of the business, but also back it with the documentation and the support. Because I think that makes a difference in inspiring others and getting that buy-in. I think one of the critical things to do in our world is getting the buy-in that you need to move the needle for the organization. And that's not always easy to do. Change is not easy. But if you can explain the why and back it with true value, it makes a huge difference to get things moved and be collaborative for the better good. So that's kind of what I've learned.
Can you share about a time when you realized that your way of leading or living no longer met the demands of your work and life and growth was needed?
Yeah. Personally, I've had the pleasure to grow. And I think everybody needs that, where you reflect. And, there were times where I reflected and said, this organization, as much as I believe in it and love the people, they don't do what they say they're going to do. Is that the right fit for me? And that's not easy to do because, but at the same point, when you need security, right, and you have family to take care of, it's hard to leave that. But I really believed one door closes, a new door opens for me. And I will find that organization who truly believes the same values and the things I'm passionate about. And I think that really makes a difference. And as leaders, we don't like to hear when we do, not so good, or make mistakes, but we're all imperfect. And I've learned, I lead with my heart, but I'm always good about I'm imperfect. And I've learned through leadership that you've got to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly, because that's how you fix it. If you don't know, you never get there. And so we have to be open. And that's what I learned, is being open to constructive feedback. There's nothing wrong with that, because it just makes you better. And so I've learned, when leadership's tough. It's not an easy role. And especially as you gain more across the organization and serve many across many teams. And so I've learned that, I can still have my heart. I can still be passionate. I've learned to be strong, but I've also learned that I'm imperfect and it's okay to make mistakes and let me know so that I can continue to learn and grow and be the best I can to serve others. So I hope that helps.
That's fantastic. And I'm curious, thinking about your journey over the past few years, what's been the most valuable investment that you've made in yourself for your own growth?
Absolutely. I think you're never too old to learn. And so I consistently challenge myself. I am a researcher at heart. I love to read and learn and grow. Some of the things I've done is I went back to school and got my CEO certification, completed series 1, 2, and 3. And I was blessed to do that through Q's training, which is for credit union world. It's an amazing program where 1 year I did Wharton School of Business. 1 year I did Cornell, and what the last year I did with Darden School of Business. And it was an amazing opportunity to bring leaders together, challenge one another, know that we're not perfect, and learn and grow and take that back. And so with that, I continued my certification for, inclusion and belonging, which I think is critical to businesses right now in organizations, of making people feel valued, belong, and a sense of, can be creative and innovative and share and be trusted. And then I did my certification also for employee relations, and I already had my MBA in HR management, but I like to continue to grow so that I can come back and say, here are the CHRO trends. Here's what's happening 2 years down the road. Like right now, a lot of us are challenged with depression, anxiety in the workplace. And how do we manage that? How do we help support that effort, right? Some are, taking care of not only their kids, but their parents. And, inflation's hard. And how do we get through that? We do financial wellness education. So just thinking outside the box. And I think that comes back to consistently learning, growing, and what's out there.
Yeah. And Heather, through all of these different certifications and experiences, I'm curious, how did you evolve as a person? What difference did these experiences make in how you lead today?
Well, I truly believe when you fall, you get back up. And so, we all have to at some point fall or feel uncomfortable. And I'm one that I will jump into uncomfortable. Most people will shy from that, but I have no problem jumping in and getting my feet wet and say, okay, let's figure this out. Okay. It's not easy. We may fall. We'll get back up. How do we do it again? Or how do we do it different? What is the takeaway to redo something that's critical to business? So I think it's really looking outside the box, challenging yourself. And I've done that. And I continue to do that each and every day. I'm also one who, no matter who comes into life, I try to learn from them, because every day is a learning experience. Not only am I bringing value, but they're really bringing value to me. It's those employees that do it each and every day that they know better than I would. But how can I help them? And so I think when you take that perspective, it makes a big difference in leadership, and especially, making it successful.
And in all of these transitions, Heather, what did you have to let go? Back to that same question. What did you have to let go in order to sort of open up and, do these other things?
I think one of the challenges that I have recognized through the years is it's not easy being a woman in leadership. It is not easy. And so really understanding that I'm a very creative, innovative person. And sometimes, when creative people think, they're not clear. You get so excited, but it's like, okay, let's pause and breathe. And what can I do with this creative idea? How can I bring value? What will it impact? What is the why behind it? And then giving ideas to that very clear and back it with data. And I think that makes a huge difference for leaders and women leaders. I think they're more respected and valued that way, that sometimes, unfortunately, when, I'll take my situation personally, you're not, respected sometimes as much. Let's face it, at times there were organizations that I didn't feel it was fair. But I said, okay, I'm still going to come to the table. I'm still going to challenge myself to get out there, but I'm going to bring impact and I'm going to also, support that. So not only is it my idea, but let me bring the data with me to show that I am a strategic partner. And I think that's helped me tremendously and gain and earn the respect.
What's your vision for your leadership, for your legacy, or the impact that you want to have in the years ahead?
I think my legacy and the impact is being able to give back to younger leaders and generations. And so the way I want to do that is one day I want to be an exceptional CEO, somewhere where I can make a difference. I also want to be a consultant for executives and leaders, but I also am a mentor currently to others and especially young emerging leaders, and really share what I've learned, my experiences, my professional development, my personal, aspects. You can never have enough human capital component of the emotion-based components of people. And most leaders don't lead with that. And so that's my legacy, is I want to make a difference. I want to be able to, if we have to change things internally, structurally, we do that for the success of the business. We lead with people, but we strategize that across, what is the strategy and where's the business going that provides best service levels and best products for members we serve. And then giving back. We have to give back to the community. How do we do that? Financial education and wellness, help supporting those that maybe graduate and can't get jobs. Let's face it, it's a tough market out there. And so any way that I can do that and make a difference, I think that's where my legacy is.
Fantastic. And what are the ways that you feel you really need to grow personally, develop in order to realize this vision?
I love that question because I'm working on that now. So one of the things that in credit union world, in any financial industry, is there is a trend that you have to have certain areas you come out of to be a CEO. And CHRO has never been one of them until recent. You see more and more in our area, in our field, moving into CEO. And I believe the reason for that is the people aspect. But one of the things I'm challenging myself is, what do I need to know as a financial analyst? What do I need to know when it comes to the budget, when it comes to the revenues and how to grow? What do I need to know about lending and loss mitigation and things like that? Loan loss. What do I need to know about fraud and what to look after? Technology, I don't need the certification, but what does the IT teams go through, because it's unique and specialized and moving so quickly that I can help bring value to, even though I'm not the hands-on person. And so I consistently trying to research and grow that areas of my life to be a valued partner.
Where do you feel most tested right now? What challenges are stretching you the most, both in leadership and in life?
Yeah, there's so many challenges, I think, on the leadership level, especially in the financial sectors. And so you're dealing with, at high level, inflation, world political, challenges. We're dealing with, mental health matters, right? After post-COVID, even jobs and insecurity that it can bring, and technology can bring. And I think, one of the things personally for me is really it's a balancing act of how can I help a team where they're feeling it most. And I'll take the time to do that personally. If somebody's feeling it on the, mental health area, I will literally try and drop everything hands on to help support that employee and managers. If we need, that there's stress because one team is growing, like technology grows, right? So you have more innovation, more design, it takes more staff and they're feeling it. Then what can we do to help support that and change that? Especially if maybe we can't hire new folks. What can we do efficient wise and supportive wise? And so I think as, a CHRO, one of the hardest things is you're almost like juggling balls all the time and saying, okay, what's coming out of balance? Okay, let me catch this one over here and that one over there. And we'll focus on that right now and then change it. We're doing employee engagement surveys. We want the good, the bad, and the ugly because I can watch and monitor that of, okay, what's moving? Why is it moving? We know that's moving, or maybe we didn't. And how can we change that? So you are consistently juggling each and every day. And one of the hardest things in our role is how do we take care of our own mental health, right? And wellness, because we're consistently going and going. And I'm trying to get better at that as well, of taking time for me. That's not easy for me. So,
Yeah. This is more of a perspective question, so I'm kind of shifting gears a little bit, but what from your perspective separates leaders who are truly thriving right now from those who are struggling to adapt?
I think leaders that are successful right now, what I'm seeing is you're seeing where the culture shift is happening. I was kind of ahead of that culture a few years, but now I think some are really catching up. And what they're doing is they're leading with people. And they're realizing that we have to be collaborative. We have to be unified. We have to share the why and do really good communication, not top down, but across the organization as a whole, and really looking at a multi-omni channel. So I think communication is critical to success for those that I see. I see that they lead with their heart, but they also strategize that into the strategy for the best outcomes. Because I think if you take care of your people, they will take care of the organization and you always, even through those tough times. And I think companies that don't show their care, or they say they do, but their behavior doesn't, it's not sustainable. You can say that employees are an expense, but the reality is they're your best value in business. They're what keep businesses open each and every day. And so that's what I believe.
And finally, this last question is more of an invitation, right? It's a scream from the top of the mountain. It's an opportunity to share, whatever it is that's top of the mind and heart for you. The floor is yours. Take your time.
Thank you. No, I'm just humbled and honored to be here. And thank you for allowing me this opportunity, because if we can make a difference and help others and, learn and grow from one another, that really matters to me. So if I can, have someone listen in and say, okay, I'm engaged and motivated and that's a great idea, and see them make a difference in life, that's what I really want, Jessy. That's really important to me. So I hope to bring that value and hope to serve others today to make a difference, because they can do it. They can do it. And you just don't give up.
Absolutely. Heather, I really appreciate the wisdom that you've shared here today with me. I've gotten so much out of this conversation, and I'm sure that whoever's listening will benefit equally from what you've shared. Thank you so much for being on the True Leadership Podcast.
Thank you so much, Jessy. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day and blessed day.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode of the True Leadership Podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this to catch future episodes. This conversation was brought to you by One Mountain Leadership, where we help leaders grow the capacity, confidence, and presence of true leadership through the True Leadership approach. To learn more about the approach, our offerings, our community, and how we can help you realize your potential in both leadership and in life, visit us at onemountainleadership.com.